Welcome to the first installment of the Play Like a Jet 2022 mock draft. I'm Scott Mason, the host of the Play Like a Jet podcast, and we're going to do this in 4 parts because the Jets do have 4 picks in the top 40, so I thought it would be worth doing 4 installments of 10 picks each. And we're going to start with the first pick, which is Evan Neal, the offensive tackle from Alabama. I have him going number 1 overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars, and the reason I have this is because the Jaguars know that they have got to protect Trevor Lawrence, the crown jewel, if they're going to be successful. Doug Peterson, the former Super Bowl winning coach of the Philadelphia Eagles, has just taken over as the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars. He's going to want to protect Lawrence, and the most polished pass protector in this draft is Evan Neal, the big 350-pounder out of Alabama. Peterson loves to run a pass-heavy offense, and so he's going to value the player that can help with the passing game the most, and that guy is Evan Neal. So I think he comes off the board at number 1. At number 2, Aidan Hutchinson, the pass rusher out of Michigan. This one makes way too much sense to me. Hometown kid, born and raised in Michigan. His father played at the University of Michigan. He played at the University of Michigan. He stays home, goes to Detroit. He's a Dan Campbell type of player, very high motor, very fiery kid, so I think he fits in there well. First trade of the draft I have happening at number 3. The Giants moving up from number 5 to number 3 with the Houston Texans to grab Ikem Ekwonu, the offensive tackle out of NC State. The reason I think they're going to do this is the Giants have a new general manager and a new head coach. They have a ton of picks. They're going to want to get aggressive and do everything they can to build up that offense for Daniel Jones this year and then possibly whoever the quarterback will be in 2023. They've got Andrew Thomas at 1 tackle spot. They're going to want another impact player on the offensive line. Ekwonu and Neal are the 2 best offensive linemen by a mile in this draft. So with Neal going at number 1, the Giants are going to feel the pressure to jump ahead of the Jets, who could take Ekwonu at 4. They go up with Houston and get the player they want. They have extra picks, so they can afford to make a move like this. It's a bold statement from a new regime. At number 4, with Neal, Hutchinson, and Ekwonu all off the board, I think the Jets pick Kayvon Thibodeaux, the edge rusher out of Oregon. I know there's been some talk that he may slide a little bit, but ultimately I just think his ceiling is going to be too high. Thibodeaux gives them the chance to acquire the best one they've had since John Abraham left town after the 2005 season. At number 5, Houston, after trading down with the Giants, gets the player that I think they would have wanted all along anyway, and that's Kyle Hamilton, the safety out of Notre Dame. 3's a little high for him. You could do it, but if you get a good enough trade offer to only slide back 2 spots, makes a lot of sense. The Texans need a lot of help. They can pick up an extra pick. Still add Hamilton. Remember, Nick Caserio, the general manager of the Texans, comes from the Patriots. They place a pretty high value on safeties. Lovie Smith, the defensive coach, I'm sure would love to have Kyle Hamilton. So that one makes a lot of sense there at number 5. At number 6, I've got Carolina taking Trevor Penning, the offensive tackle out of Northern Iowa. I know a lot of eyebrows were raised when Daniel Jeremiah suggested this in his recent mock draft. I think it's a strong possibility only because I think the Panthers have to take an offensive lineman in this spot. I don't see much in the way of trade offers coming their way, and I know Matt Rule understands that his job is on the line, that he has got to make a big improvement this year. I don't think he's going to see any of these quarterbacks as someone that could help him immediately. He does have playmakers with DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey. That offensive line is terrible. So being stuck in the number 6 spot, I think he takes the guy that is the most Matt Rule type of player and arguably the best offensive lineman on the board here, Trevor Penning. Maybe it's a reach, maybe it's not, but I think that Rule is going to have to swing for an offensive lineman, and Penning is probably the guy that fits the bill the best here. At number 7, the Giants are back on the board again. I'm going to give them Travon Walker, the defensive end / defensive tackle out of the University of Georgia. Very versatile player. You've heard Daniel Jeremiah say that he's talked to teams that have Travon Walker ahead of Kayvon Thibodeaux. He can play every spot on the defensive line. He can play inside and outside. I think he'll do a little bit of both. But we do know that new Giants defensive coordinator Don Wink Martindale loves to rush the passer. He's very blitz happy. Travon Walker gives him another weapon to do that and somebody that can help stop the run as well. Plus, Plus, Wink Martindale can get creative with him and put him all over the place. I think it's a really good match here for the Giants at number 7. At number 8, this is tricky because the Falcons can go in a variety of directions. They could even draft a quarterback, but I think they're going to take Ahmad Sauce Gardner, the cornerback out of Cincinnati, who I think is the best corner in this draft. I just think it's one of those situations where there are a lot of needs. I don't see a lot of big trade offers here, and Gardner is just too good for them not to take. You put him with A.J. Terrell, who was a second-team All-Pro in 2021, and now you've got the makings of an outstanding defensive backfield. So I think that's where the Falcons go, with Ahmad Sauce Gardner at number 8. At number 9, I'm going to say the first quarterback of the draft comes off the board with Kenny Pickett, the quarterback out of Pittsburgh. Most pro-ready quarterback in this draft. Denver's got a roster that is ready to compete right now. They'll probably get a veteran that'll come in and push Pickett in training camp. Maybe Pickett doesn't start right away, but he is the best equipped to do so. You've got a brand new coach in Nathaniel Hackett. George Payton, the general manager, is very well entrenched there. So Hackett has the luxury of getting his own guy here with this Pickett quarterback and molding him in his vision. Then at number 10, I've got another trade with the Jets trading down from 10 to 12 with the Minnesota Vikings, who jump up and take Malik Willis, the quarterback out of Liberty. This move makes a lot of sense to me because the Vikings are going to be looking for a quarterback of the future. They've got Kirk Cousins with 1 year left on his deal, but you've got a brand new coach in Kevin O'Connell, who's a quarterback guy, comes from that McVay tree. He's going to want his own quarterback to mold by getting Willis here, who everybody acknowledges has incredible physical tools but is raw and needs development. He gets the player that he wants for the long haul, kind of the way that Kyle Shanahan drafted Trey Lance last year and sat him behind Jimmy Garoppolo. You could see a similar dynamic here. Cousins gives the Vikings a chance to win right now while Willis gets ready for next year. Also similar to what we saw with Alex Smith and Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City. They've got a brand new general manager there as well in Minnesota, so they can afford to make a move like this. And with Washington sitting between them and the Jets at number 11, it makes perfect sense that they would jump up 2 spots and make sure that they get the quarterback that they want. So that's our first installment of the Play Like a Jet Mock Draft 1.0. On the next edition, we'll get into picks 11 through 20, where the Jets will be on the clock because they were to pick number 10, but I just had them trading down to number 12. So find out who I have them picking and much more on the next installment of the Play Like a Jet Mock Draft version 1.0.